Great. So it's 4 and 3, and I guess that it's time to start. Thank you, everyone that is attending right now. I cannot see how many people and who you are, but thank you for being here and take your time. I'm going to present very quick who we are. We have here Pedro. He's a PhD in biomedicine and he's a healthcare innovator. Gonzalo, he's a digital health entrepreneur and he loves using technology to help people. And me, Adri, I'm a pharmacist and I have some experience in VC and entrepreneurship in the healthcare sector. And before presenting our guest and protagonist, we would like to present what is EIT Health Alumni Network. So very quick, we are more than 2,000 members of this community that we love to strengthen this healthcare sector with activities and webinars like this. And also we share job opportunities. And so if you don't know about us, you are very happy. We are very happy to join, to have you on board, so that you can also create your own projects in your geographical place. And I would like also to thank EIT Health Alumni Network for letting us to put in place this project, because I think that the VC sector is an industry that is a very endogamic sector, and it's not very shared. All there's many things about the VC that it's not always shared. So that's why we Anna Bellmunt is going to explain us. So thank you, Joan, Krishna, Robin, Miriam, Beatriz, and all the community for helping us to create this. So the topic of this webinar is about what is VC, what is venture capital, and what VCs looks for. So that's why we invited Anna Bellmunt from Asabys Partners. So if you want to jump in, please, to present yourself very quick, Anna. Thank you for being here.
Sure. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. My name is Anna Bellmunt. I'm associate at Asabys Partners, a venture capital firm based in Barcelona, investing in the healthcare innovation. So we can invest in the biopharma, in the medtech, and also in the digital therapeutic space. And I have a scientific background. So I'm chemist and biochemist by training. I also have a PhD in biomedicine. So thanks for inviting me.
Thank you, Anna. So we have a couple of questions for you, just to breaking the ice in this topic. What made you start this career in the VC world? Why VC?
Why VC? Good question. So when I was doing my PhD, as many of us, I was running in parallel different programs, different projects, and one of them had the potential to go to the market. So thanks to this project, I had the opportunity to go to many courses and congresses about entrepreneurship, and I really realized there that this is what I wanted to do after my PhD. So I wanted to be there in this ecosystem. And I just came back to the lab. I finished my PhD, but I realized that the science is not as fast as I expected. So I needed to stay a little bit longer in the lab, a few years, just to finish some experiments and be able to be the scientific entrepreneur that I wanted to be. And I wanted to move on. So I decided that I wanted to be in that ecosystem. And at that moment, I couldn't be a scientific entrepreneur. I decided why not to be the person that is on the other side of the table. So being a venture capitalist, an investor in this kind of projects. So this is what really motivates me to go to this sector. And in fact, I think that it's a place to be. It's a place where you are in touch of the best science, the most excellent science, and you can see the impact of this science from the lab to the patient. So I think that it was the place I wanted to be, and yeah, I'm happy to be a venture capitalist now.
I'm glad that you are. So you told a bit about your lab experience. So could you explain us a bit more about your prior experiences, and in a nutshell, how did you break into VC? Because we know that it's a very endogamic sector and it's very difficult. So please, we are very happy to learn more about your prior experiences.
Sure. So when I decided that I wanted to be a venture capitalist, I just had talks with everybody, and I realized that he was mentioning that it was kind of difficult to enter as a junior without experience, without experience only in the lab. So I decided to make the first step and joining tech transfer office. So there I was working as innovation manager. It was the tech transfer office called at the institute, the research institute IDIVAPS. It's a research institute of a big hospital here in Barcelona called.
Oh. I think we have a problem.
Sorry,
Anna?
can you hear me?
Yeah, I think that the image was...
Something happened. Okay, so apologize for that. So I don't know where. So just to start again, I decided to do this first step. I joined the tech transfer office of IDIVAPS, a research institute of a big hospital here in Barcelona called Hospital Clinic. And there I was the innovation manager. So I've seen there the other side of the projects, the more business side, more financial side. There I was working by helping the entrepreneurs, the scientific entrepreneurs, to protect their research, to protect their intellectual property rights, to negotiate with big pharmas for the license of these technologies, to help the entrepreneurs to spin off their companies. So it was kind of amazing, not to see the other part of the projects, and for me was really a first step into to enter into this VC world. And as a second step, I had the opportunity to join LSP, Life Science Partners. So it's one of the big VCs in Europe. They have just raised €1 billion fund to invest in the healthcare sector. So they are amazing. They've been working more than 30 years together with a really successful track record. So I've been able to join them as an internship. So I was working there with an internship contract and working as an analyst, doing all the deal flow analysis, deciding which companies really fits with our strategy, and working more in depth with those companies that we think that were interesting at that point. So yeah, I had the opportunity to do that because they were often offering this kind of internship. So at that moment, I think that there were only 2 companies doing that. I think that now there are a lot more offering this kind of positions. And for me, it was I think that this opportunity gave me the chance to just join Asabys after that as an associate and working there as a venture capitalist. So
nice. How long were you in LSP?
In LSP, I've been working 6 months, so I could stay a little longer, but as I had this great opportunity back in Barcelona, I just decided to go.
You couldn't miss it, yeah, of course.
No, it was a long contract, a long-term contract compared to an internship at that moment. So of course, I had an amazing experience at LSP, but I decided to join Asabys and see and look for this experience.
So good, nice. So thank you, Anna, for sharing with all of us your prior experiences and how to one of the options, right, to break into VC, because as we know, there's a lot of ways to get to a point, and that's one. And so thank you. Now, if you want, we could continue with a topic lecture that Anna has prepared for all of us. She spent some time with that. So thank you again for taking your time, really. And if you want, you can share your screen to show us the PPT. And now it's your turn. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Great. So just to explain what we do as a venture capitalist, I think that it's interesting to understand what it's between the biomedical knowledge and the patient. So for this reason, I put this slide just since the very beginning that you are, for example, in a lab and you maybe find a promising target to the point that you have a drug targeting this target into the market and really helping patients, there's a really long way to go. This road, it's sometimes more than 10 years. It's really high, with a high risk and with high needs of capital. So I think that it's important to understand that it's not easy to go to the lab from the lab to the patient. We really need time, money, and this high risk. And who's putting the money to these projects, these high risk projects? So depending on a little bit on the development stage of the company. So since you have the lab, you have to start a new company, validate the concept. With this, I mean doing some killer experiments, some proof of concept to explain that this is working and that this is what you want to do, and a business plan explaining what you're going to do in the next following years. At that point, you can have different financial types. Usually it's more business angel, family, full-time friends, and some VCs that invest in seed capital. In fact, this is our case, one of our cases in Asabys Partners. And then in more later stage, usually there's the VCs, as we are investing in different stage. So at this point, you need to make the company grow, make a prototype, make the preclinical studies, also maybe enter into clinical trials with humans, etc. So there's a lot of things to do in this space. And as a VC, what you want, or as any investor, what you need is not just to invest, but also to invest at the end. So with this and to obtain liquidity, we expect an exit of the company. And this means, or rather entering into the IPO in the public market, or being acquired or merged with another big pharma or let's say another pharma. So this is a little bit the process, the financial process of the projects. So what we are doing as a venture capital firm. So we are a private equity capital investor. So we invest in private companies. The companies in the healthcare sector, as I was mentioning, are really high risk, but the potential of returns are really high too. And it's important for us to have a diversified portfolio and really to be specialized and have the knowledge to invest in this kind of industry. So what we do is first to raise our fund, to raise our fund, we need to fundraise to different banks, family offices, insurance companies. So we are really expending a lot of time doing the fundraising. With this fundraising, we raise our first fund. We obtain a really small percentage of this fund to pay the rents, the salaries, etc., and the rest of the fund is invested in the portfolio companies. So usually we have a strategy behind this. We know more or less the number of companies that we want to invest with the fund, the money that we want to put in these companies, etc. So we invest in that company. We don't only just put the money, so we are part of the company. We help them grow. Usually we just have a board seat, so we help the company to take the decisions. And at the end, what we want is just to make them grow, to make the company successful, and just exit this company to be able to return all the money to our investors. So for this, we need to invest, and this can be made, as I was mentioning before, with an IPO or a third-party sale. In case that the investment of these companies is really successful, then we have the right to obtain a carried interest of the investment. So this is a little bit how we work. Just to put an example, I wanted to explain what we are doing at Asabys. Asabys is a venture capital firm, as I was mentioning, based in Barcelona and established 3 years ago. We have raised 116 million, so we have this under management, and we invested with this fund into 12 companies. As we invested in the therapeutic sector, so as we see the therapies as a mix between the biopharma, the medtech, and digital therapeutics, we want and we like to invest in the 3 sectors. So this is what we did. We invested in 12 companies. One of them we already de-invested, so we are really happy of that. And the thing is that the team that is behind, it's what makes us, I think, special. We are really a complementary team with half of the team with a more scientific background, half of the team with a more business and financial background, with a lot of years and a track record of experience, of deals, of working as a VCs. And this, I think, is what it's making us special, what it makes us different. And we, in fact, this is what we did. We invested already our first fund in 12 of the companies that we wanted to invest, 4 in the biopharma sector, 4 in the medtech, 4 in the digital therapeutics. We invested in different stage of development of the companies. We did 3 company creation with this first fund. We also invested in seed rounds in Series A, and then we are investing in the follow-on rounds of the companies. So just to put some examples, we did company creation with in-brain neuroelectronics, with Nuage Therapeutics, and with Donna. So for example, with Donna, we just helped the team. We knew the team since a Nature paper was published by the scientists. So we were in contact with the scientists. We helped them to build a company, to build a team, to think about the strategy, to in fact negotiate the technology transfer agreement with the research institute, with everything. We put the money also to make things go faster, to move on, and then to be able to raise a big round. Well, not a big round, so a round that help us to arrive with our product into the clinics. So this is what we did. We just raised a 30 million Series A round, one of the biggest here in Spain, with FunPlus, with really international VCs, and it was kind of a big success for us. The second success was, in fact, Splice Bio. Today, I think it's a great day for them. We did more or less the same. We invested in a seed, in a Series seed together with Aesios Capital. with the Splice Bio. We put the money there just to let them perform some interesting experiments, some killer experiments. And with that, they've been able just to show to other VCs that their science is really amazing. And they just announced today, really, I think one of the biggest round, in fact, this, if not the biggest in Spain, of 50 millions, together with Novartis Venture Capital, UCB, Gilde, NEA, Enisios Capital. So it's kind of amazing what they are doing there too. And finally, Origo Biopharma. So we lead a Series seed investment, and just after 1 year, we had the opportunity to sell the company. The company was acquired by Agoma Therapeutics, a pharma company that is focused on the fibrosis sector. And this is also important. Now we are investing, try to diversify not only on the type of the technologies, but also on the indications that we are working with. So this drives me to the second point of the second question that I wanted to explain is what drives us to invest in one company and not to another. And I think that this is really, really important. And for an entrepreneur, it's important to understand the strategy behind each venture capital firm. So this is basic. The first thing is, what's the strategy of the fund? So which is the industry? As I was mentioning, we can invest, for example, in medtech, but there are other companies or VCs that are focused only on the biopharma space. So this is something that you should know. The second thing is the geography. We are kind of limited somehow to invest in places where we cannot invest with this fund. So this is also important you to understand. And finally, the portfolio composition. So as I was mentioning, we are diversifying the portfolio composition through different technologies and different indications. But there are other funds, for example, that are specialized on the oncology field. And these kind of funds, they just diversify in different technologies. So this is also something that you have to understand. In the case that we have a fund with already, for example, in our case, let's say 3 companies targeting fibrosis, we will not invest in another one in case we have space. So the second thing, and I think that this is really key, it's the science that it's behind. So it should be disruptive. We should see a proof of concept, the scientific evidence of the science and the excellence of that, and also a competitive advantage. So it's really important to understand that you may have a great idea, but you have a lot of competitors working with other ideas that may arrive earlier in the market or something like this. So this is something really important for you to understand, which is your competitive advantage when you are an entrepreneur and you have a startup company. And finally, the IP. So you have to have a strong IP. The intellectual property right has to be proper protected. So this is really important for us. Another thing is the assets and the business model. So it's really different from for us to invest in a company that has a single asset compared to a company that is a platform and that have different assets in their pipeline. So the first thing is, if you have a single asset company, you have more risk of failure. If the program failures, then all the company needs to shut down. But in case that you are going to a platform company, even though you de-risk in this sense, you have different programs. You can have some programs that do not success, others that does. But this is more risky in terms of financial needs. A platform company that is developing different assets in their pipeline needs a lot more of capital, and this is really important for us. And when we are trying to invest, the next thing is the business model. So there, for example, we don't invest in companies offering services because we cannot see, or for us it's difficult to see the exit opportunity for us. But there are other VCs that are doing this kind of investments, and you should know that as an entrepreneur. And then the regulatory pathway. So for us, it's key to understand the regulatory pathway that an asset needs to pass through to arrive to the market, and this is key. And also essential point is the stage of development. And this is essential because it links and it's really related with the stage of our fund in terms of time to exit, let's say. So when you are investing in a really early project, you know that it's really high risk. Obviously, the valuation of this company may be a little bit lower, so you can have more percentage of the ownership. So this is something that you are playing with as a venture capitalist, investing in early stage projects, higher risk, maybe more percentage. But the thing is that if you are in the first year of your fund, you are able to do this kind of investments. If you are more in the 4th, 5th year of the fund, you will need to invest in some companies with a more later stage of development that needs less time just to have the exit. And as I was mentioning, the valuation of the company, it's key, and the financial round that they are looking for, it's also key for us. And then also the market and the clinical need. So I think that it's important to talk to VCs, understand what they are looking for, which kind of indication they are looking for. There are some VCs that they have this really in mind, and they wanted to go to 2 or 3 different indications, and they don't want to see anything else. In our case, we're more agnostics about that, but the truth is that it's really different if you are investing in a company that it's going and it's targeting a rare disease, or a company that it's going through a more common disease, let's say. So if you're going to, just to put an example, a really rare disease, you will have benefits. So you will have a really small market. There's something that it's like this, it's a rare disease. But then you will not have as much competitors as in another indication. You will have benefits in the regulatory pathway. You will be faster entering into the market with some beneficials once you enter into the market. Also, clinical trials may be really fast because you will need less patients into these clinicals, more cheap. So there are pros and cons in both types of indications. If you are going to a big indication, a really common indication, let's say, for example, breast cancer, the market is huge, but the competitors are crazy. There's a lot of clinical trials under development. You will need a really big clinical trial, high number of patients, demonstrate that your new drug is really better than the ones that are on the market, that the standard of care. So you'll need like larger clinical trials with more patients on it and more expensive in this sense. So this is something that you have to compare. Just you have to understand and decide as a VC. And for us, obviously, are really important. The exit opportunities is part of our business. It's important to understand where we can see the exit window in time. Also, the type of window of exit that we expect in each of the companies, an IPO, going public, or more a trade sale. Obviously, if you have a single asset company of a small molecule, an IPO, it's not for you. So you are going to go to talk to pharma and expect them to buy your company. And for this, it's really important to understand the corporate appetite. So you need to understand what are the pharma looking for in each of indication, and understand if your company can fit this appetite. And this is really important also for us, because at the end is your only exit opportunity, and you need to know what they are looking for. And last but not least, it's the team. So it's key. It's really key. You can have a great and excellent science, a really disruptive, really new, but you need the team to execute this science and make it grow, make it go to the market. So you need a really, really, really strong team, complementary team, and obviously it can be complemented, and it is being complemented by an advisory board. You have to decide really well who is going to advise you, who are going to be the key opinion leaders that will help you to progress. And at the end, also the board of directors are part of the team. So when you have a VC entering into your company, they usually, well, they will be part of your board of directors, so they will take the decisions. And for this, I think that you as an entrepreneurship have to be clear which kind of VC do you want to take the decisions in your company. So it has to be a VC with the same strategy than you, with the same mode of thinking, and this is key. So you have to, because they will be part of your team. They will not put only the money, they will take the decisions, but they will help you also to talk to farmers, to talk to other VCs, so they have a lot of experience in a lot of sectors, and they can afford you a lot of things. So I think that this is also key for the entrepreneurs to understand that it's important for you to pick the right VC that is investing in your opportunity. And for me, that's all. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Anna, for your time, for telling us what is VC and what this type of investors looks for, particularly Asabys partners. So thanks again. And now Gonzalo will lead the Q&A section. So guys, don't be shy and ask as many questions as you can. Thank you.
As Adri said, thank you very much, Anna. It was impressive what you told us. We have a few questions. The first of them is from Bart. And I have a question on an early exit for business angels in biotech projects. Could you elaborate on cases of angel investors that have been bought out by VC investors in either A, B, or C round, and what are the things to take into account for angel investors?
Yeah, so as an angel investor, as I was mentioning, usually they are investing in really, really early stage projects. So with a really high risk, they are investing usually not large amount of money, but they were taking a high percentage of this company. So for them also, it is important to understand the valuations and the rounds that are being raised after them. So it would take an important, for them, this would really matters. But I encourage all the business angels to be open to big rounds, even though they get diluted. I think that it's the way to move now. It's the way to have big things. So it's important. It's better to have a small percentage of something really big than a big percentage of nothing. So I encourage them to don't be afraid of that. Big rounds are here to stay. It's important the management team don't waste all their time fundraising and being able to focus on what is really important to make the company grow. And for this reason, in fact, in Asabys, we really believe in the rounds, not big rounds to be big rounds, but in to raise the capital needed to go to the second milestone, and this is key for us. So I encourage them to invest in early projects, and be able to share this with the VCs also. And yeah, I think that it's great to work together with these investors and make the companies growing and being super successful.
Okay, thank you. Let's go with the next one. I mean, this is regarding your career. How did you get your first VC job? Did you know someone in the organization?
No, hopefully. No. In this case, yeah, they just offered the job offer, posted in the LinkedIn, the job offer. I was following them, and I was following the biggest VCs, and for me the more experienced ones. And I see the job offer, and I've just applied to that. I had few friends that were working in other VCs. Well, few friends. I think that they weren't friends until I called them and asked for help, and they also gave me a lot of advice on how to prepare for these interviews and how to be able to enter. So I think that this is also important. So networking, it's not important also only for the VCs. It's important before you are a VC. It's important to reach people, to ask people. In fact, you are in another position. There are a lot of things that you don't know, and I think that it's important to ask to the right people. I was doing this since the very beginning. During my PhD, I started talking to all the VCs here in Barcelona, asking what they needed. Like, I want to be a VC. What do you want me to do? And in fact, I had the chance to talk to Clara Campas, one of the founders of, together with Joe Sanfaliu, of Asabys Partners, like 5 years ago or so. And I asked her, what do you need me to do if you want for a future just to hire me? And she asked me, okay, do this, do that, do everything. So I went 1 year ago and I said, Clara, I did this, I did that. and really, it's amazing how they can help, and they are willing to do that. So yeah, any person that may have questions, I will be more than happy to answer them in more of a personal way or whatever.
Okay, good. Really good advice for the people who wants to jump to the VC world. Mm-hmm. Well, Ginger wants to give you the thanks for your valuable insights. And are ventures with B2C or B2B business model more attractive for funds in general? And I would add in the healthcare area too.
Yeah, good question. Depending. So the only thing that you need to know, if it's B2C or B2B, it's are they willing to pay you for that? So if you're performing something for the hospitals, let's say a software, etc., you need to ask the hospitals if they really need this tool, if they are willing to pay that, if they have the money just to do that and to invest in new technologies. And this is key. So for us, it's not important which kind of business do you have. It's important to understand what are the real needs behind, and if the people that should pay at the end are willing to do that. And the same is if you have an app for a digital therapeutic as a cara care, so it's a B2C, and you need to understand the needs of the market, and if people are really willing to pay for an app, if medical doctors are willing to propose to the patients to use this app. So I think that there's a lot of market analysis that you have to do, but we don't really care in this sense.
Okay, so let's go for the next one. That is from Ali Asa. For a product that is new and has a marketing edge, but cannot be fully patented due to existing publications, what do you look for to cover IP or possibly of competitors to enter the market?
Yeah, difficult question. So for us, it's key to have a strong IP, but it depends on each company. So you, for example, can have a company with a technology that helps you to find new antibodies for any specific indication. If you cannot just protect the technology, you may protect any antibody that you observe, and then use this antibody to protect it as a composition of matter. So there are different ways to protect your intellectual property rights. And I think that it's important to have a strategy behind. If you have just published that, you cannot protect it. And you, for example, just have protected, I just have published about this, the structure of your compound, for example, of your, it would be really difficult to find financement, because if you start doing the preclinicals, everything show that it's good, you are entering into, let's say, clinical trials, and it works, who is so you will have a lot of competitors that will just develop the same product without any protection from your side, and this is really difficult. So I think that it's you have to go example by example, and it's interesting that to understand that there are some technologies that cannot be protected, but there are different ways to protect your knowledge, your expertise, and your final products. So I think that it's really interesting to talk to IP attorneys and to understand which strategy is the best that fits your company or your project. But yeah, it's something that we as a BC will ask you. So you have to think about a strategy behind, and having clear what are your goals and what are you going to do to avoid this competition.
Great. Let's jump to the Maria's question. What has been the trends that you have seen with VC investments in telemedicine solutions in the European Union? What are your thoughts on telemedicine in general in the European Union?
So good question. Well, in fact, we are not focused on telemedicine as Asabys partners. We are working more with therapeutic solutions. This is kind of more monitoring and having the database there, and also having the access. So there's a lot of interest on that. But as I was mentioning, you have to go to the hospital, to the medical insurance, and understand their needs. If there are space for you to offer a proper service, a proper tool. And I think that this is the key point, to understand what it's needed. There's a lot of companies doing this kind of things. So you need to understand what is your competitive advantage, and go and talk to people that are gonna buy your product and ask them about their interest. So I think that this is key. But of course, then all the people want this telemedicine tool, being at home and asking the doctor what's happening.
Yeah, I think after COVID is becoming very popular.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which is your risk analysis around hardware medical device companies?
So, well, my analysis, in which sense? Because there's a lot of things to explain about hardware, well, about medical devices. So for example, at Asabys, we invested in 4, as I was mentioning. We really like these medical devices that are a game changer. For example, we invested in brain therapeutics. They are using graphene to just insert it into the brain and help Parkinson patients with their pathology. And this would be a game changer for us. And this is clear. They are, with the graphene, you have the ability to monitor real time and to treat real time, depending on the situation. So it's not the same to treat a patient with Parkinson that is sleeping, or that is walking, or that is in the house or doing wherever. So this is really important to have this real time monitoring and effect. So we like these kind of things, like big things, really disruptive, that would be a game changer. Stands that are a little bit better than the ones that already have the hospital, it's kind of difficult for us to invest. As I was mentioning, the process of also of a medical device, it's really long, it's really risky. So we are not investing such amount of money for a high risk project if we cannot see a great opportunity after that. So it's just that you are a little bit better than the ones that are on the market, then it would be difficult to obtain a big percentage of the market. And this is something that it's really important for us. We really are looking for disruptive science and game changers.
It was Daniel who asked it and wanted to know it in terms of scalability, but I think that you explained more or less what is your point of view on that. Okay, so there are 4 more questions. Let's try to answer all of them. Would you invest in an early stage startup in which the CEO and the CTO are not founders? What percentage of the cap table would you say that the CEO should have?
Okay. Yes, of course, of course. So in fact, sometimes it's better to have a CEO that it's not a founder. So for example, we just invested in US Therapeutics. There are 3 scientific founders and neither of them are the CEO of the company. So I think that it's really interesting that they are being the scientific founders and the advisors. So they are great on what they are doing. They are excellent scientists, top 1 internationally, and we want them to focus on the science. So it's something that for us is important. They have the lab, they are doing research, they are helping us, but they are not doing all the paperwork of the company. They are not doing more business side that they are not used to. So for us, it's in fact even better sometimes if the CEO is the person with an experience in a company, in a pharma company, in a spin-off company or whatever, but with these management skills that sometimes you cannot find in the founders. And for us, investing in really early projects as a first investment, let's say, it's important that the people that are the founders and the ones that are managing the company have a percentage of the company that makes sense. And with this, I mean, you cannot try to invest at the very beginning and just have half of the company or more than that, because they will not be incentivized. So it's important to incentivize the people and the team and that they are happy with that. So I will not, I don't want to say a percentage, a specific percentage, but it's true that it's important to have them with this opportunity. And in fact, if they don't have an ownership at the very beginning, you may play with the ESOP plan, with a stock option. So you can offer them this stock option in case future rounds, etc. And this is something that it works and it makes sense.
Okay, thank you for your answer. And well, Bart wants to know, from a VC point of view, when is the exit windows expected for the business angels?
Well, this depends. Obviously, so I think that for a business angel, it can be early, well, it can be earlier than us. selling their ownership, their shares, but they can just wait until the big exit and big success of the company, and this could be more interesting for them too. So it depends on the company, the stage of the company, and the pathway that you will need to go to the market and to have a real exit and liquidity.
Okay, Ginger wants to ask you how can be trade sale exit opportunity be evaluated? Shall a startup have a strong patient strategy? In the world of big tech monopoly for deep learning algorithms, it could be a tricky thing with patents on image processing with GPU, etc.
Sorry, I think I didn't get it.
Okay, so I mean,
can you repeat? Or maybe I can read it somewhere.
Yeah, it's Ginger is talking about the trade sale exit opportunity. How would you evaluate it regarding if they have to have a strong patient strategy? I mean, they are talking about deep learning algorithms. You already have it in the chat if you want to read.
So the trades. So how can we trade?
No worries. It's a little bit tricky.
Yeah. Obviously, regarding algorithms and these kind of things, pattern strategy, it's not the way. For this reason, I was saying that it's important to have maybe not a patent strategy, but yes, an IP protection strategy. In the case of algorithms, maybe a trade secret rather than a patent. So it's better not to make them public. So this is key. So you have to have a strategy behind your IP. But sometimes it's patent the product, sometimes it's waiting until you have the definitive product, and sometimes it's just have it as trade sale. So there's something that I think that it's important to discuss with the patent attorneys and see whether it's best for your company. And in case of in general exit opportunities, how they can be evaluated. So this is important to understand that, for example, if you are going to a specific indication, let's say some types of cancer, you won't be able usually to sell the company until you have some results in phase 1B, let's say. So you will need to use your money to develop this kind of clinical trials. There are several other indications that you may be able to sell the company before in preclinical studies, etc. So this is something really important, and that you have to understand, talking with people, pharma people, and with people in this kind of ecosystem, and you will understand that better. And this is important because at the end is what makes you understand the time that it's needed for your investment and the money that you will need to invest, and to understand which are the exit opportunities that you have. Apart from that, it's important to see and to compare with other success stories in the field. Let's say, if you are looking to sell a company that is developing an antibody for oncologic patients, then you have to compare with other companies doing similar things, and how was their selling of the company, to which pharma companies they contacted, and these kind of things. So there's a lot of, as I was mentioning, a lot of work to do regarding the market analysis.
Okay, and let's close the loop of your career with the latest question. Anna gives you the thanks for all the information. Where do you imagine yourself next? What is the next after an associate in VC? Would you be moving to another VC and working there, or are there other career options out there afterwards?
For me personally, I see my future at Asabys, growing there professionally. So this is my my goal. Obviously, there's a lot of opportunities outside, so it's been difficult to enter into the VC world. But I think that exit this VC world. It's not that difficult. You have a lot of opportunities outside, but for me, as I was saying before, the venture capital world, it's the place to be. I think that it's incredible what we are doing. And for me, Asabys is the firm to be working on during the next, let's see, hopefully a lot of years. So yeah, I think that my goal now is to stay at Asabys and grow professionally there.
Okay, so there is 1 minute left. This is going to be the last question because it's from Unmet. And if a pre-seed company has a group of founders where some are active in the company, employed plus managing the company, and others are not, scientific external advisors, is there a minimum percentage of equity that should be with the active founders at the stage of investment to make it sensible for you as an investor to invest? And this is the last question.
No. So as I was mentioning, the important thing is that people get incentivized to make the company grow, to make the company success. And if it's not by equity, it would be by the salaries that they are having in the company or by the salaries as advisor. So I think that this is something that each company should discuss with their employees or their advisors and just achieve a deal with them that makes sense for all of them. So we only want to invest in a company where the people is happy, where the people is motivated, and this is what drives us to invest in a specific team, not the percentage exactly of the equity that they have. Okay,
so we've done with the Q&A section. So thank you very much, Anna, for your time, for making the slide, for the talk with Adri, and for answer all the questions from the audience. Thank you very much for all the EIT Health Alumni Network who helped us to host the event, like Krishna, Bea, and Joan. Also, thanks Adri and Pedro for your work. And to the audience, looking forward to the third episode of the VC webinar series. We'll let you know as soon as it will be ready. Thank you very much and see you soon.
Thank you all for the invitation. Bye.
Bye. Thank you all, guys.
Bye.